throughout his reign. The first, Diana Cazelle, passed away years ago. The second, Cassandra Nepelus, currently serves as a royal judge within the Empire's court. Diana bore him 2 daughters, the Empire's first and second princess. Cassandra, on the other hand, gave birth to the 3rd and 4th princes. But then came Erin, the 5th princess, born not of nobility, but from a commoner woman. A child born out of wedlock, her existence has been treated like a blemish, ostracized and labeled as something unnatural, unworthy of royalty. Still, despite the constant humiliation and social scorn, she never let their judgment define her. She carried herself with the grace and presence expected of any princess, and she dedicated herself with intensity to her academic path. Even so, things eventually spiraled. She was later accused of turning her back on the empire and banished from the royal bloodline. No one knows for sure what became of her, but rumors suggest she caught some incurable illness and died alone on a remote island. That was enough to earn her the nickname, the Tragic Princess. He, for one, believes things could have turned out differently. Always thought she might have stood a chance at a decent life, if only she weren't so caught up in dreams and blind ambition. She drew too much attention. Karam constantly teases him, claiming her story practically mirrors his. Meanwhile, far across the war zone, the Emperor and the Duke have been making significant progress wiping out the monster swarms. Dion channels raw lightning through his body, slicing through the stragglers like they're nothing. He might hold the throne, but he's also earned a reputation as a terrifyingly skilled magic wielder. Creatures like these barely slow him down. Once the area is cleared, the 2 duck inside the command tent to rest. The Emperor pours himself a drink and offers one too, just to reminisce about the old days. The offer is declined. There's no room for Buzz's judgment on the front, so he shrugs and drinks solo. As the quiet stretches between them, he casually brings up a troubling matter. Several nobles have been killed lately, and word is spreading fast, unsettling both citizens and soldiers. The Duke immediately asks whether there's any link between the deaths, patterns, strange signs. Dione tells him the common thread is corruption. Every noble taken out so far had a dirty record, and more importantly, every corpse showed signs of black fog residue. That makes his companion pause. He says he noticed the same kind of fog behind the camp just yesterday, which leads him to suspect that the black fog users have resurfaced. The Emperor agrees. It's definitely something they'll have to look into further. Then the topic shifts. He's heard whispers that Erin is being blamed for the recent chaos, and it's starting to weigh on him. He's been trying to keep things from boiling over, but some factions are clearly looking to use the situation against her. He turns to the Duke, face open and serious, and asks for one thing. If something happens, if he dies first, he wants his old friend to watch over her in his place. The promise is made without hesitation. The Duke swears on his life to protect her, no matter what. And with that, the conversation draws to a close. Back in another tent, he's catching Emily up on everything that went down while she was away. She seems let down that he barely spent time around the princess. He tells her not to expect too much. She laughs, half serious, and throws out that he'll never get married at this rate. He brushes it off and steps out to return to his usual training. But outside, he runs straight into Erin, standing there soaked from the downpour. She walks into the tent beside him and asks where he's heading next. Before he can answer, she tells him to stay for a moment. There's something she wants to talk about. She asks how long he's been stuck out here. He replies, nearly a month now. Not wasting time, he pushes the real question. Why did she come all the way here just to find him? But whatever she wants to say, she holds back. Emily's intense, almost unhinged gaze behind them makes her too uncomfortable to speak freely. He tells her to give them some space so they can talk privately, but she replies with a sarcastic grin, joking that they should all just have fun together. Once she's out of the way, Erin begins by apologizing, admitting she hasn't been behaving like she should, hasn't lived up to what's expected of her. He accepts it without hesitation and admits he might have gone too hard on her earlier. Her voice lowers, weighed down by emotion. She says he's well liked by everyone, that he carries himself with more maturity than she does. He instantly notices the shift in her demeanor. She brings up the fact that he's probably heading back to the academy soon, but he stops her before she can finish. He already knows where she's going with this. She wants to ask if they can be friends once they're there, but he cuts it off. Looking her straight in the eye, he tells her if she came here looking for friendship, she's wasting her time and should walk away. Trying to hold it together, she says she wasn't looking for that, just hoping to be on good terms, and says he's being unnecessarily cruel. With tears starting to fall, she says he probably sees her like everyone else does, a fake, undeserving princess. She takes a breath, pulls herself together, and apologizes for showing up at all, says she overestimated him and walked away with nothing. Then she mutters that he's nothing like his brother, Ashel. That name hits hard. He grabs her arm without thinking, demanding to know how she even knows him. She tells him she ran into Ashel during a walk near the Royal Academy. He told her not to worry about other people's opinions, only to focus on her goals and what she wants. That makes him freeze. It's clear now that his brother had started manipulating her from the very first moment they met, already laying down the trap. He tries to warn her, but before he can get anything out, a deep rumbling shakes the tent. Emily rushes in, panic written across her face, yelling for them to get out immediately. But they're too late. An orc crashes through the top of the tent, smashing into the ground and launching her through the air like a broken doll. From outside, the nearby knights spot the torn up tent and realize he's still inside. Emily, sprawled in the dirt, breaks into sobs, convinced he's just been killed under the wreckage. Word of the attack reaches the Emperor and the Duke immediately. Both of their children are trapped inside the wreckage of a tent, torn apart by a high-ranking demonic beast. Without pausing, Dione commands the entire military force to head straight to the scene and secure his daughter's life. Meanwhile, panic floods his mind. He can't wrap his head around why powerful monsters keep showing up this far behind enemy lines. They're supposed to stay deep within the valley. Something feels seriously wrong, and he's starting to suspect he might be the reason behind it. Tears well in her eyes when she sees him alive, after genuinely believing the orc had killed him. But he managed to get out before the structure collapsed. There's no way he'd let an orc finish him off when he's slain demon kings in a past life. Beside him, she asks if the knights stationed at the camp are alright. Then she breaks down, overcome with guilt for coming here at all, knowing they would have followed her straight into danger. The knights approach and reassure her that protecting her is their sworn duty, and they're ready to die if that's what it takes. But the words are cut short when the orc storms back into the scene, grabbing one of them, crushing his body in a single grip, and hurling him across the field like nothing. Without hesitation, he steps in front of her, standing between her and any incoming strike. The orc immediately locks eyes on him, confirming the suspicion. These advanced monsters are being drawn specifically to him. He yells for the others to fall back and get her to safety while he holds the beast's attention. Emily grabs the princess and bolts, leaving him to face the threat alone. But his strikes barely scratch the creature. It's like the blows aren't landing at all. Confused and frustrated, he starts wondering what the hell is going on. Why are they so fixated on him? That's when Karam appears, casually explaining that all the demonic blood he's been drinking to get stronger has left him reeking of power, attracting elite monsters like a beacon. Furious, he snaps, demanding to know why she didn't say anything sooner if she knew this from the start. She just grins wickedly and says she's only here for his body anyway. He doesn't hesitate, grabs her and transforms her into his weapon. With her as his blade, he launches into the orc, slicing through limbs like butter and putting it down without breaking a sweat. But then he spots something worse. Dozens more high-level beasts still on the move. She lights up with excitement, thrilled by the prospect of such a massive feast. The mood shifts when they come face to face with a devil dragon. He tells her to get ready to tear into it, activating his demonic manifestation to wipe out everything standing in their way. Elsewhere on the battlefield, the Duke has just taken out the final remaining monster in his area. Dione turns, asking if there's any word on the kids. The reply is grim. There wasn't a single sign of them near the collapsed tent. The Emperor says he must be panicking over his son, but the Duke answers with a cold expression. Any member of the Vert family should know how to survive something like this. What matters now is the princess's safety. As they speak, the knights arrive, successfully bringing her back to her father. She rushes into his arms, breathless, pleading with him to save our MC before it's too late. Meanwhile, the Duke walks up to the maid and asks if she's his personal attendant. When she nods, he asks what happened. With her voice shaking, she explains that he told them to run while he stayed behind to hold off the monsters. One of the knights offers to go retrieve him if given the order, but the Duke takes a moment, then declines. Their focus has to remain on the current wave. If these creatures break through the camps, nothing will stop them from reaching the Empire itself. They have to return to formation before more lives are lost. When someone asks what's going to happen to him, the answer is calm and final. Our MC has already done his part. He protected the princess. That's what being a Vert means. She continues to cry, still blaming herself for everything unraveling around them. But then a sound cuts through the noise, a voice she instantly recognizes. She looks up, eyes wide, as he appears overhead clutching the reins of a flying dragon, shouting desperately for someone to help. Dragons are majestic beings deeply connected to the Creator, revered for their rarity and dignity. Creatures as weak and limited as humans have no business challenging one. So for him, even laying eyes on a dragon in the flesh feels like a once-in-a-lifetime honor. Unfortunately, the one he's latched onto ends up soaring directly above a crowd of people who know exactly who he is. The worst part, he can't afford to be seen in the middle of a fight. But there he is, plain as day, riding a dragon like some reckless idiot. Eyes lock onto him immediately. The Emperor watches with intrigue and asks the Duke if he's planning to save his own son. The Duke, completely unfazed, just sits there, relaxed and detached, observing how our MC handles the mess he's gotten himself into. Meanwhile, he's barely hanging on, regretting everything. He curses himself for being greedy enough to even think about tasting dragon blood in the first place. Before all this chaos began, back when he was still holding off the army of monsters, he had slashed through them quickly, not even sparing a thought, until all that remained was the dragon. Seeing it up close had him practically vibrating with excitement, staring at the mythical beast with wide, awe-filled eyes. But the moment didn't last. It went aggressive fast, blasting a column of fire his way. He dodged and scrambled for the high ground, launching a flurry of attacks in return, but each strike only pissed it off more. Then came the tail swipe, hard and fast, smacking him through the air like a rag doll. Before it could follow up, he switched to martial arts, pounding it with heavy, rapid blows across its body. Still, it wasn't enough to bring the beast down. As he prepped for his next move, something unexpected happened. It stopped. Then it simply turned and flew away. But of course, being the impulsive little gremlin he is, he leapt after it without thinking, grabbing onto its side like a maniac just to steal a taste of its blood. That's how he ended up stuck, clinging to its back, powerless and exposed. She demands to know why he hasn't used her to fight back. At this rate, he's going to get himself killed. He screams back that if anyone sees him use his powers now, he'll be fried alive. He can't let that secret get out. While they're still arguing, they spot the Duke beginning to cast a massive, high-level magic spell, an 8-star incantation. Panic hits immediately. That serious look on his father's face means only one thing. He's about to target the dragon, even knowing his son is on it. The spell launches. Blades of magic shoot into the air, slicing through flesh with terrifying force. He leaps off just in time, trying to dodge the raining blades mid-air. As he falls, she yells for him to use his powers to escape, to fly out before it's too late, but he still can't risk being seen. Desperate, he scans the area and spots a river of blood not too far off. As a last-ditch effort, he shifts his trajectory and aims for it, hoping it'll cushion the fall. Somewhere else in the valley, a pair of demons had been watching the commotion. One, the older of the two, remarks that it must have been a young dragon getting itself into trouble. The white-haired one next to him counters, saying something incredibly powerful must have scared it off. Only a high-level beast could do that. But the elder casually corrects him. That section of the valley is populated solely by humans. Still, if curiosity's got him, he's free to check it out for himself. Just try not to massacre everything in sight. The younger nods, spreading his wings and flying toward the chaos. Back near the river, he somehow survives the fall. Crawling out of the bloody water, breathless and drenched, he drags himself onto the shore to rest. He quickly checks on her, making sure she's alright too, but she's too furious to even speak. He tells her to relax, promises they'll head back soon, but she snaps at him to be careful. Right now, they're standing in the middle of demon territory. He laughs it off, saying there's no way their luck is that bad. Not enough to run into a powerful demon this late in the day. But right on cue, fate slaps him across the face with a voice he knows far too well. A voice burned into his memory for years. The voice of Valkyrian, the Demon King. In the past, everyone who had ever laid eyes on him said it felt like staring directly at the personification of darkness itself. That very presence now looms before Kayam. Instinctively, he shifts into a defensive stance. With a furious tone, Valkyrian demands to know if he is a human. Too tense and hyper-focused to respond, he keeps his silence. In an instant, the Demon King blinks toward him, clearly extending an invitation to fight. Cyan reacts immediately, slashing with Karam, but only manages to shear off a bit of his hair. Valkyrian appears intrigued, impressed even, by the speed of his movement. Karam quickly asks who the hell he's trying to fight, and Cyan answers with a weighty pause. It's the Demon King. That alone sends her into a panic. She says there's no way he can beat someone of that caliber at his current strength. Now stuck in a dire situation, he realizes he's got no real chance of winning, and even escaping could end with him being caught. He locks up briefly, trying to process what to do, but then Valkyrian surprises him by calmly telling him to relax. He claims he won't lay a finger on a kid like him. He even lies down down casually, suggesting they just talk for a bit. Cyan finds this strange and out of character, completely baffled by the Demon King's demeanor. Once again, Valkyrian asks if he's really a human and how he ended up here. He answers that yes, he is, and that he ended up falling into the Blood River, which dragged him all the way to this place. Valkyrian, however, isn't fully convinced. He senses something odd emanating from our MC and asks if this is truly his first time here. Cyan nods, but the other still isn't buying it. He then questions whether our MC has seen him before, to which he firmly denies. That answer, however, does feel genuine enough that Valkyrian believes him. After all, how could a human possibly know him when the latter had never even met a human before? Still, Cyan remains unsure, his mind racing to figure out if this really is the same Valkyrian he remembers from his previous life. He decides to ask why he's even here. The Demon King replies that he sensed an unusual surge of energy from this direction, and came to investigate, explaining that as ruler of these lands, it's only natural for him to look after them. Our MC's lack of surprise actually reinforces his suspicions. His unbothered expression makes it seem like he already knows him. Valkyrian continues to talk, clearly thinking aloud, but Cyan isn't really listening. He's too caught up in how wildly different this man is from the version he once knew. If everything unfolds the same way it did in his past life, the demon invasion will begin soon. But looking at him now, he just doesn't seem like the type who would trigger such chaos. If this is his real personality, then something must have gone wrong to alter him. So Cyan takes a risk and asks what he truly wants to achieve as Demon King. Amused by our MC's boldness, he says that all he desires is to ensure safety and prosperity for his people, and if anyone threatens that peace, he won't hesitate to wipe them out. For a split second, Cyan glimpses the real core of Valkyrian, a raw force of evil restrained deep within. Something must have set him off in the past to awaken that beast, and our MC knows he has to prevent it from happening. He warns that soon, either Valkyrian or his empire may face a dire turning point. The Demon King frowns, puzzled by the vagueness, asking what he's getting at. Cyan admits he doesn't know the exact details, but if events spiral, a massive conflict between humans and demons could erupt, and he wants terms to stop it. Valkyrian wonders aloud why he'd want to start a war with humans to begin with. Cyan responds with a plea. No matter what happens, promise never to invade the human lands or declare war. That raises an eyebrow from him, who presses, what's in it for him? Cyan promises that whatever threat comes his way, he'll do all he can to support him. Valkyrian still finds it amusing, but there's something about our MC's courage he respects. He asks for his name, and upon learning it, solemnly vows, as Demon King, that he will never initiate war with the humans or encroach upon their lands, regardless of circumstances. But he warns that Cyan must uphold his end. With that said, he takes off into the sky. Not long after, our MC is spotted by frontline scouts patrolling the river. Word spreads fast. He becomes known as the one who survived the Devil Dragon. Later, back within the abbey near the Velia's border, Cyan rests in a hospital bed. Aaron sits nearby. With flushed cheeks, she hesitantly gathers her words and asks him if he would be hers. Cyan can't make sense of what's unfolding around her. From the look he gives, she picks up that he clearly doesn't want to go through with it, and it hits her hard. Tears start building as she admits it actually tracks that he'd avoid someone like her, just a useless royal with no power to offer. Her reaction starts to wear on him, her mood, her desperation, the way she's laying it all out. It's beginning to grate. Deep down, he already knows she's got nothing practical to bring to the table, but her emotional mess is tugging at his patience. She quickly brushes her tears away and forces a smile, insisting she just needs to level up, get stronger, become powerful enough that someone like him might finally look her way and accept her presence. She locks in that goal, swearing she'll grow so terrifyingly capable that resisting her won't even be on the table anymore. Just before stepping out, she pauses at the door and throws a quiet thanks his way for not dropping dead on the front lines the other day. Some days later, off in the shadowed edge of the forest's rear border, a man slips through the trees, making sure no one's trailing behind. He pulls a cube from his pack, arcane and faintly glowing. The moment it's exposed, dark chains of cursed magic lash out, locking his limbs in place. A voice cuts in behind him, Cyan's, remarking in disbelief that Reynold Crimson was the rat all along. The smuggler immediately launches into a frantic explanation, rambling about how the cube's no ordinary item. It's packed with enough raw mana to give it near limitless storage, a design straight out of the Garam Kingdom's mage labs. The assassin yanks the cube away and pulls off his mask, revealing his face and casually reciting his full name like he's reading it off an arrest warrant. Reynold freezes, stunned that Cyan's the one who got the jump on him. He demands to know what brought him out here, but the other man doesn't even acknowledge the question, already digging through the crates and supplies the smuggler's been hauling. He notes everything, contraband parts, demonic remnants, and it clicks. Reynolds been draining corpses of their corrupted blood, packing the stuff into carts, and slipping them through the borders with inside help. He's sure of it. Someone's been feeding him access. Reynolds shrugs it off, swears he has no clue what his captor's going on about. But Cyan's way ahead. He's seen the demonic blood floating around the underground markets. Somebody's selling. While he tries to piece together who the mole could be, Reynolds tries to blindside him with a fire burst. He thinks it'll land, but instead, Cyan's already closed in, slicing through his hands and pinning them into the bark of a nearby tree. Then comes the deal. Either Reynolds spills everything, the smuggling path, the identity of the traitor, the whole operation, and gets a clean end. Or he holds out and gets dragged through a torture so drawn out and merciless he'll be begging for death before long. Later, over on the western edge of Velias, inside a trade station near the border, a group of merchants crack open a box of supposed blood shipments, only to recoil when they spot Reynolds' decapitated head hovering in a swirl of black mist inside one of the containers. Not far from the scene, Cyan keeps watch from a concealed vantage point, monitoring quietly as his plan unfolds. Karam, standing beside him, questions why he's letting these traitors walk free. He replies flatly, they just need something to shake them. A warning. He remembers all of this from his last life. Reynold Crimson, deep in bed with Garam's government, had been trafficking corrupted blood right under everyone's nose. Every shipment led back to Garam's mage society, the same people fanatically obsessed with unraveling magic's source and stretching its limits beyond reason. Right now, they're still focused on creating handy tools like the Dimension Cube, but he knows what comes next. Soon they'll push further, start crafting horrors with that blood, twisting magic into something far worse, and he's dead set on stopping that spiral. Karam throws in a jab, mocking him for suddenly doing the Empire a solid after swearing he was done with all that, said he'd live for himself this time. Back in one of the estates owned by the Ushif, Ashel lounges in a room, having just wrapped up some private time with a woman. His attention perks up when she mentions something. Cyan apparently went off to the front lines, and he took their father with him. That's all it takes. Now Ashel's ready to pay his brother a visit. The bastard's been getting on his nerves lately, and he's not letting that slide. Emily lets out a loud cheer the moment she's finally off the front lines and safely inside the castle. The relief is real, and she practically shouts her excitement. She turns to Cyan, saying the academy's going to be a total upgrade compared to this grim place they're stuck in now, but he doesn't share that energy. His face says it all. He already knows what's coming, what's waiting inside those academy walls, and it's nothing like what she's imagining. Truth is, that place isn't the bright new chapter she's hoping for. It's a maze of backroom politics and shallow alliances. Envy fuels everything, and clout outranks talent. Actual learning takes a backseat to social climbing. She, on the other hand, is hyped because she's heard the academy's full of good-looking guys, and she's convinced it might finally be her shot at finding romance. Time passes, and eventually, the entrance day arrives. Cyan reaches the front gates and on his way in, runs into Crayons. The moment the guy notices him, he bolts without a word, still spooked from the last time he completely wrecked him. Karam, confused by the sudden retreat, asks what's up with him. Cyan brushes it off, explaining he's just his half-brother. She comments that he doesn't really resemble the rest of the family, but he disagrees, saying he's not all that different from Alice. Once inside, the academy staff greet him, excessively polite, overly respectful, and he clocks something odd. None of them will meet his eye. Their behavior reeks of someone important lurking nearby, probably his father, the Duke, or maybe even his older brother, but he doesn't dwell on it. After grinding non-stop for the past year, he decides to take it as a win. Maybe this is what reward looks like. He moves through the hallway until he reaches his assigned room. Before he even opens the door, a familiar aura cuts through the space. It's strong, unmistakable. Ashel is on the other side. He already knows. And right on cue, as he pushes the door open, there he is, his older brother, standing there with a smug, been a while greeting. Cyan keeps himself in check, trying not to do anything reckless. Ashel comments that he probably doesn't even remember him. It's been years, not since before he entered the academy. That flicks a switch. Cyan snaps, fury rising, and moves to grab Karam for a counterattack, but she intercepts him just in time, urging him not to lose it, reminding him that one wrong move here could get him killed. He listens, barely. Instead, he greets Ashel through clenched teeth, saying he'd never forget his older brother's face. The elder laughs and ruffles his hair, pleased he still remembers. Then he strolls deeper into the room, casually mentioning that he's heard Cyan's gotten way better at fighting this past year, and that maybe now, he might actually be of some use on the battlefield. Cyan bites back the disgust, says he's looking forward to it too, but the hatred in his eyes says something else. Ashel catches that glare and pauses, says he just dropped by to see him, nothing more. But Cyan knows better. He doesn't waste time on people he thinks are beneath him. If he's here, there's a reason, and oddly, that thought calms him down. Meanwhile, just down the hallway, Emily's lugging his stuff toward the room. She yells out, pissed he didn't come help carry it, but as she approaches, she freezes. Ashel walks out instead. He brushes right past her, telling her not to mind him and to just get back to work. Once he's gone, she vents her frustration, demanding to know why the hell Cyan didn't warn her he'd be here today. He doesn't respond, just tells her to leave him alone for a bit. He locks himself in the bathroom, leans over the sink, and throws up. The pressure, the tension, it all hits him at once. When he steadies himself, he turns to Karam, demanding to know why she stopped him earlier. To him, it made no sense. It was the perfect opening. She could have taken over his body right then. She shuts that down, says she didn't hold back because she was being soft. She just wants his rage to keep growing. The more twisted it gets, the better he'll taste. Cyan smirks, says he prefers her this way. Over in Ashel's private room, a butler enters with an update. As ordered, he's been tracking the second princess, and now he's found her. She's deep in the northern region of the White Elves' territory, Farina. Ashel raises an eyebrow. Farina's not exactly welcoming, especially to outsiders, but of course it's her. She's got away with people. Makes sense she'd pull it off. He tells the butler to notify him right away if she ever decides to return. The servant nods, but before exiting, asks if something happened during the meeting. He looks different, happier even. Ashel laughs, shaking his head, says it's actually the opposite. His mood's crap. All he can think about is that look Cyan gave him earlier, sharp and heavy, like he was staring down a sworn enemy. He orders the man to keep tabs on Cyan from here on out. The butler promises to assign someone for surveillance and leaves. Ashel stays behind alone, still thinking, still trying to figure out what the hell his younger brother might be hiding. Just outside the castle walls, a formation of royal knights waits in full gear, lined up to escort Cyan on his way to the academy. Emily lingers nearby, clearly downcast. She's not allowed to ride along with them, and it stings. He says his goodbyes and tells her to behave, wishing her well before stepping away. Right as he's turning to leave, she calls out to remind him not to get discouraged if people mess with him once he's there, and to take care of himself no matter what. Her words catch him off guard, not because of what she says, but because it proves she hasn't changed at all since his last life. Still the same, still kind, still exactly as she was back then. Like that one time when he was 8, down with a brutal fever, blacking out again and again with no one around to even notice. No one but her. She'd picked him up and carried him on her back, running all the way to the closest doctor, stayed up through the night beside him, watching over him the entire time. If not for her, he'd probably have died somewhere in a forgotten corner of the castle. Leaning his head out from the cart, he yells back at her, half joking, telling her she better behave, or she'll be punished when he returns. She waves after him, eyes glossy with tears but smiling wide. To him, she's never just been a maid. She's someone he holds close, someone who genuinely matters. Once back inside the cart, something starts to feel off. The escort, 6 nights for one person, it doesn't sit right. He starts to suspect there's more to this than a routine trip. Whatever they're planning, it probably won't wait until he reaches the academy. Hours pass before they pull over. One of the knights tells him they'll be camping here for the night. Curious, he asks where exactly they are. They respond vaguely, claiming it's a location in the center of Saffron, and that they should be arriving at the city by morning. But he knows better. The landscape doesn't match, not even close. No forest like this exists near Saffron. Judging from the surroundings, they've dragged him somewhere isolated, deliberately out of reach. He climbs out of the cart and right away, the group closes in, surrounded. Calmly, he asks the only thing that matters. Who's pulling the strings? Who's behind this setup? They don't answer. One of them simply tells him the only thing he needs to know is that he's dying today. A knight steps forward and moves to swing at his neck. He sidesteps effortlessly, then takes the man's head clean off in a single counter. Raising his sword, he levels it at the rest and repeats the question. They rush him all at once, but they don't last long. Within seconds, he cuts through them like dead weight, limbs and armor crashing to the ground. He leaves just one alive. The last knight, staring up in sheer terror, finally understands how he managed to walk away from a demon dragon encounter. The moment they accepted this mission, they were already screwed. He walks over, weapon still drawn, and asks again, who ordered this? No dodging, no delay. Panicking, the knight blurts it it out. It was Mrs. Margaret. She's the one who issued the kill order. He doesn't kill him. Instead, they both return to the cart and resume the ride toward the academy. Along the way, the knight offers another piece of the puzzle. Apparently, Kranz had gone to Margaret and asked her for a favor. This hit job? Most likely his request. He grits his teeth. That's enough. He vows to settle things with Kranz later. The knight, looking dejected, asks quietly what's going to happen to him now. He responds flatly. He's useful for the time being. So for now, he can drive. Not long after, the outline of the academy finally comes into view in the distance. They've reached their destination. Back at the estate, Margaret completely loses it when word hits that the mission's gone sideways. News spreads that most of their men were